Welcome to Voices with the Lady D, where every voice has power. I'm your host, Lady D Denise Gomez Green, inviting you to join me each week for real conversations, powerful stories, and uplifting perspectives that shine a light on voices from the community and the diaspora. Kick off your week with the Monday Drive from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Dive deep on Thursdays with Center Stage from 6 to 8 p.m. And ease into your weekend with Satideh Mawnin runnings every Saturday at 10 a.m. Catch Voices with Lady D on YouTube, Caribbean Vibes Radio Network online, and YouTube, and Fit FM 96.7 in Stewart Castle, Trelawney, Jamaica, or tune in on Linkage Radio online. So lock in, turn it up, and remember, every voice has power. This is Voices with Lady D. Ready for real talk and powerful conversations? Then subscribe to Voices with Lady D on YouTube, where culture meets commentary and the diaspora speaks loud and clear. Don't just scroll. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and tap the bell so you never miss a moment. From laughter to legacy, it's all happening here. Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power.
Minister Patrick Tyson and Brother Claver Schrouter, in collaboration with Sister Lemuel Hunt, presents A Taste of Heaven on Earth Part 2 on Saturday, September 13th, 2025, to be held at the Bronxwood International Church of God, located at 3232 Lurton Avenue in the Bronx, featuring Minister Judith Gale, Minister O'Shane Mays from out of Jamaica, Minister Claver Schrouter, Minister Dwight Schrouter, Brother Tajay Nichols, aka Singer Wayne, and Sister Shakira. Tickets adults $40, children $25. Doors open at 5 p.m. Showtime 6 p.m. sharp. Your MCs for the evening will be yours truly, Minister Patrick Tyson and Lady D. A part of the proceeds from this event will go to Bronxwood International Church of God Carpet Project. This event is sponsored by Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant. For tickets and more information, you can contact Minister Tyson at 347-961-6785 or Minister Claver Schrouter at 914-336-0623.
Celebrate the heartbeat of Caribbean culture with Satideh Mawnin runnings. Join us on Saturday at 10 a.m. on YouTube as we showcase the vibrant heritage of Jamaica and the wider Caribbean with 4 incredible women, Sherns, Max, Jackie, and yours truly, Lady D. From powerful stories to cultural traditions, we're bringing the flavor, rhythm, and excellence of the Caribbean straight to you. It's more than a show. It's a celebration of roots and traditions that inspire and unite us. Subscribe to Voices with Lady D on YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to stay connected. Every Saturday at 10 a.m., it's Satideh Mawnin runnings. Come feel the vibes. Satideh Mawnin runnings, where Caribbean heritage comes alive. Last week on Satideh Mawnin runnings, newlywed Sharik Jenkins shared powerful insights on love, marriage, and walking by faith. And the response, absolutely amazing. So by popular demand, Sharik is back. And this time, she's joined by a fresh panel of voices ready to share their hearts. We're plunging deeper into the journey of love, purpose, and preparation. What does it really mean to be ready for marriage, spiritually, emotionally, and professionally? Whether you're single, engaged, or just hopeful for what's ahead, this conversation is for you. Join us on Saturday, July 5 at 10 a.m. on Voices with Lady D, live on YouTube. Satideh in Runnings, where culture meets conversation.
Morning, morning,
Good morning.
morning,
Good morning.
morning,
Good morning. Good
morning,
morning.
morning. A very
Morning,
pleasant good morning.
plenty morning.
Whole heap, enough, a lot.
All heap
Yeah.
of morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Satideh Morning Runnings, where culture meets conversation. And we are here this morning so excited because we are feeling young, gifted, and black, and doing so much, empowering minds, getting people in the vibe of so many things. And hey, we do what we do here on a Saturday. Most of us are from the Caribbean. That's why we have coined the show with the theme Satideh, because in rural parishes and in the suburban areas, you would find people stopping by someone's gate, knocking, or somebody would be on their veranda or porch, or simply in the yard if there's no veranda or porch. And as they're passing by, they are greeting, but they don't just wave like that. They say, "Man in over so, how no do?"
Yes,
That kind of niceness. That's
yes.
how we were raised. And so we have kept our culture. While we can speak the Queen's English, we certainly have not forgotten where we come from. Hence, the whole Saturday morning thing.
Right.
So I'd like to welcome you to our show this morning, and we have some beautiful young women here who some are poised. As I was backstage, I saw hair fluffing up and all. I how they are produced.
I love it. I love it. You all have such beautiful and fresh faces.
I am telling
Hi,
you.
Sarah, my baby. Hi, Jordan and Miss Marcy. Good
Mhm.
Cliffany fell out just now.
No, I
There
was
she
getting a
is.
little
Cliffany.
feedback. I was
Oh,
getting a little feedback, so I had to put her backstage so she could
okay.
recover.
Okay. All right.
Yes, we would like to welcome you. How are you doing, everyone? Starting off with Mars. Mars, how you do?
Hi, morning. I'm good. How are you?
It's great to have you here. I mean, you have become the consummate host, so it's a pleasure having you on my platform. So thank you. Good morning.
I learned from the best, Lady
I
Diana.
tell you. Good morning to Cliff. Cliffy, how you do? How you do?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Lady D. I'm doing well. Let me know
Yeah.
if like the Wi-Fi starts to get a little trippy because it's the weather
Okay.
doing some
And
stuff.
I am gonna put you backstage and ask you if you can angle your phone in the horizontal or
Yes, ma'am.
crossway position.
Yes, gotcha.
So I will do that so nobody sees you going all over the place. And I'd like to welcome Laney Lane. Laney, what's doing?
How are you? So good to see everyone. I miss
I'll
you
tell
guys.
you, Laney. Laney, so I'll allow you all to just introduce yourselves. I'm just welcoming you. You can, in a quick minute, say who you are, what you do to all of you. And so, Laney, it's a pleasure having you. We go way back.
Yes, we do.
And of course, to our super guest, Mrs. Jenkins Sharik, who was with us last week and talk up the things, which is why we have decided to have her back so she can impart as Sharns and I just sit and learn.
It really is an honor to be back. It really is. Good morning, ladies.
Yes, the feedback was great, Sharik, and we know this week it will be greater. So we'd like to welcome you. And to my co-host, would like to say a very pleasant good morning to you from the salubrious island of Jamaica, West Indies. In show-off mode.
Girl child, let me tell you, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. So we'd like to
It was
welcome.
hard to put on rightful clothes, because I've been wearing,
Yeah. So and so.
Yes. But anyway.
Yeah. Wonderful, Cliffy. Now we're talking. Miss Mars, could you do the same? I'm gonna put you back stage and you do the same for me. All righty. So we want to welcome our guests. I mean, they're coming in droves. And ladies, as you are on, you may just go to that's very same link, tap it a bit, and just share it with someone you know and ask them to like, share, and subscribe. So before we start the show, let me hop on over to the chat here in Voices with Lady D. And welcome Drea out of Barbados, who was like first this morning. Drea, you and I need to learn something. You've been married like 30 years now, and you come in first. So that means you need to talk more this week. Good morning, Minty. Minty is my niece, so welcome to you, Mints. Good morning to Charlesy, always a supporter. Good morning, Charlesy. Good morning to co-producer and my husband. He's there as himself. He'll be coming in as voices in a minute. So welcome, husband. And also, good morning to Val. Hey, Val. Val is a member of our church. Good morning, Val. And Evol says, wow, whole heap of lovely ladies. Good morning. That's right. Good morning to Marie. Viewers and panelists love the co-host this morning. Blessed Saturday. And Val and everybody else, please share the link with someone. I'm seeing 23 people. Those of you who are watching, we want you to come into the chat and say something. Greet up the ladies. You don't see them. They're ready, man. Ready. Okay, I see Ruth. Hey, Ruthie. And good morning to one of our, well, he's almost like CEO, King Ryan himself. Full house, say to me, come now, talk up the things then. That's what we're talking about. Lovey's in the house as well. Hey, Lovey, good morning. So welcome. Lovey, share, tell the church people your girls are on. Let's start the show. It's a pleasure. So last week, we were in the throes of our conversation, which was so good because some of us are already married, some of us recently married, but every day the learning experience in the marriage, the day-to-day walk, the getting to know, the compromise, just about everything else, it's a day-to-day process, no matter how many years you've been married. And so we thought we should take this back, keep the momentum high. So Sharik shared her powerful insights, about her recent marriage, the love, the walking by faith. And we wanted to have her share some of those nuggets and even more to Marcy, Cliffy, and Lainey this morning because, of course, we don't want to just assume that all is going well in the camp for them. And truthfully, I have been declaring that I would like to see our young women get married. That's something we are accustomed to. It is ordained by God. The bed is undefiled. Everything that happens in marriage is how God created it. And then you do the rest. You make yourselves love each other. And by the way, we can't wait on nobody to love us. So we have to come in there loving ourselves first before we can even say we love Tom. So, as we are going to be talking this morning and asking you ladies to be, Marcy, you couldn't indicate to me that me not carry you back in yet. Hello. Just sit down there in the back office.
I was
I was literally about to text you.
Okay, okay. So we want to just say, hey, how has it been going for you ladies? And so professionally, in the throes of being at this age and stage in your lives where you desire a husband, if not, you wouldn't be on here. And yeah, lady, you know it go. And so we want to start talking. So, Sharik, I'd just like you to say hi, tell us who you are in a nutshell. I'll do that with all of you. Then we can start the conversation. Welcome to Voices with Lady D. This morning's edition is Satideh Mawnin Runnings. Go ahead, Sharik.
Hi, good morning, everyone. As you know, my name is Sharik Jenkins. I guess I hold a bucket full of hats when it comes to things that I do. I'm an immigration paralegal. I'm the CEO of my own companies. I hold a lot of different titles, but I'm here under the title of a Mrs. And very happy to be here hanging out with you guys yet again. I'm really excited for the conversation.
Thank you so much. And let me head over to my next window and speak to Lainey. That's my name for her. On mute there, Lainey. Good morning.
Hi, nobody else can call me Lainey, only you.
Yeah.
I'm Jordan. I am an event producer and wedding coordinator. I actually did Sharik's wedding and it was the most beautiful wedding ever. Very
They told us.
Yes.
ma'am.
But yeah, that's all. That's all I have. I'm
Okay.
excited to be here.
Thank you so much, Lainey. And let me head on over now to Miss Moss, Marcy Auguste. If you're all wondering how to call that last name, it is Auguste.
It is Ogis.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning. My name is Marcy. I am a doctoral student and I am the executive assistant to an executive director at a non-for-profit organization.
Thank you so much, Mars. It's a pleasure having you here. And I'd also like to go to, you all can call me now. I'd like to go over to, her name is Cliffany.
Hi, good morning. Yes, my name is Cliffany. I am a teacher, a kindergarten teacher. I also am a youth leader and worship leader at my local church. As Sharik mentioned, I also wear many hats, too much to list right now, but I'm just excited to jump in this conversation with everyone.
All right, thank you. So our focus, ladies, this morning is talking about love, purpose, and preparation. And leading into marriage, it begins with meeting someone. So it starts physically, it begins there, but you're all Christian women. And for many people, they are praying. If you notice in the clip, I had one slide where they're all praying and seeking the Lord and so on. So there is that. And it requires so much more than that. I often tease that, manna fell a very long time ago.
Mhm.
And manna in this case would be that suitor. If he drops him, then, we could just add that to the Chronicles. But it requires so much more. And I want to hear what the dating life is like if you are. What are your plans? What timeline you have? Because people will say, by the time I am X, it better happen. So it's the real talk. We ask that you be as vulnerable in um, in context to what you wish to share, and also how can we help, what we need to do, because some of us know each other very well, and I have already said that, and I will put it out there, that had I not met my husband in the way that I did, which was a blessing, I had plans because he wasn't going to fall out of sky.
All right, then. Talk to me.
Yeah. So, they say, seek and ye shall find.
Yes.
And
Knock.
seeking don't mean one time.
Knock.
And it shall be opened. So, Sharik, I'll kick off with you, my love. Sharon, you and I are here for morals support.
That's it. That's all.
So I'll kick off with Sharik first, and then we can start the conversation. Lainey, I would like you to, roll right in because you have a timeline working with this morning.
Yes.
Okay, so Sharik, give them a recap and, start asking them some questions here because that's how we want you to host.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, well, it's been a while since I've been in the dating world, I would say. But I guess I can start with just giving a little bit of a recap of my personal experience. When I met my husband, it was very not planned. I knew I always wanted to be married. I've always been a lover girl, as we'd like to say. I actually was never really into the dating world a lot. I'm very known for just having like long-term relationships. And when my husband came around, I didn't expect God to answer my prayers so clearly and quickly. I definitely felt like he allowed everything to work out the way it did at the time that it did in order to not only prepare me for a husband, but also prepare me to become a woman. I definitely feel like I matured astronomically in my engagement year. So I would say my experience with the dating is a little bit different because, my husband and I dated for about 3.5 years, but we were very exclusive to each other. It wasn't really like an open relationship type of situation. So I would say I don't have so much insight on the dating world per se. But I guess this can lead into a question for you ladies that aren't engaged or married right now. What would be your perspective on the dating world? Like, how are these guys? Like, what are they doing? How are they treating you ladies? Like, are they holding a standard or not? Give us some insight on that.
All right, Lainey, you want to go first?
Sure. I think it depends on where you find them and who they are. I think that's a part of it too, just as Christian women, like where we're looking for the type of person that we want to be with. And because I think a lot of times we can say like the dating pool has pee in it, or the guys don't know what they're doing and they don't know. But then when you assess like where people are looking and what you are doing, and not even that we should be looking, because I think we should be found, but regardless, like the men that we're judging aren't necessarily probably out of the crop that the Lord has for us. And so I'm wondering, really, well, not wondering, but I know that we can say one thing about the group of men that are out there, and I've done it before. But then when you assess kind of like who they are and where they're coming from, you kind of understand why they might not be exactly what you're looking for. So I think I've had good and bad experiences, but this is a generation of men who I think know what they want. It's just a matter of like timeline and when. That's kind of been my experience of like knowing what you want, but the timeline doesn't always match up with the timeline of a woman, if that makes sense. And so just making sure that you're on the same page with someone has been a journey, I would say, to say the least.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Alrighty, now, Lainey, I'd like to piggyback on something because you said that you believe that we are to be found, um, and that may be so, but we realize that things have and times have changed, and while you will not conform to so much of the changes, there are some subtle things that we can do as well, which will not um, allow or cause anyone to see us, right, Sharons, in a
Very
negative
much.
way.
Yeah, yeah,
So, depending on how we are socialized, we may sit in on that porch of waiting to be found and are never found, because while we're on the porch, they're passing by out there, and there's somebody else walking by out there who, a friend of mine who has not yet appeared on this show, I think she's running behind, had said, and I'll quote, that had Eval and I not come together, and it is now meant as we laugh at it, but she said maybe some hootie peck would pick him up, which means someone else maybe not as nice, gracious, cultured, godly,
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
It could have happened, even if
Would have-
he thinks
yeah,
he knows what he's looking for,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So sometimes, and the approach is always important. I will not hoard this segment, so I'll allow Sharik, but I had to just say that to you, that yes, it would be nice for us all to be found. But sometimes you can weigh the situation.
yeah,
Put if you see someone, as we can say, spot a guy,
yeah.
you can weigh the situation either in, so it comes in thought, you can say, Lord, there's this guy over there. Can you show me how to approach, what to say? Not a thing wrong with that. And you certainly wouldn't be going up to him now and saying, hey, I'm available. It would begin with a conversation.
Yeah. We have to get away from the fairy tale version, because as girls, all little girls, I'm aging myself, but I'm very proud of my age. I'm 61 and very, very proud of it. I come with a lot of experience. I flip flop. I can hop on that side of the fence and this side of the fence. So bear with me. Sharik knows me very well. Um, we sort of sometimes come from the fairy tale world where the prince is gonna come in and sweep us off our feet. Even though I see grown, obviously they have to be grown. I was on a Disney cruise with my grandchildren, and people are getting married left and right in princess attire, and the groom was all in the fairy tale. And I said, look at that. People are still believing in the fairy tale type setting. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I'm a hopeless romantic, and so are other people. But as women these days, I know that when you are very learned, when you are ambitious, you're beautiful, you have it all going on, you're all that and a bag of chips. Sometimes the guys, they're looking at you, but they're afraid to approach. They're very guarded. They're not as smart as we think they are. And this is nothing against men, but they're not as smart as we think they are in some things. They could have 4 degrees, but when it comes to women, you know, they're like this. They have the desire, but unless you give them a little come hither look, or act less feminine, like you have women now opening doors for themselves. Boss lady is a title thrown around a lot, and yes, we are all boss ladies in our own right. But as the Bible said, we are the weaker vessel, and sometimes we have to kind of tamper it down a little bit to give women, because men are egotistic, not in a bad way, but they are the providers, they are the muscle. We have the internal muscle, they have the external muscle. So we have to give them that leeway to be men. But in the meantime, don't just sit and say, let him sweep me off my feet. Because he may be right there under your nose. And like Lady D says, somebody should just come and they go that way. And they're not meant to be. But that's what end up happening. So be vigilant. Be vigilant.
Right, that's right. And Sharik, what would you like to say?
Yeah, if I can interject really quick, whereas like I definitely see both sides. I agree with both sides. But Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that when she had stated like she thinks that we shouldn't be looking, we should be found. I think it was a little bit more than just a literal sense. Because of course, like, if we're dating and, we see a guy we like, or, what if they're shy or what if they don't want to, talk? And of course, we are not going to be like, well, he needs to come talk to me or whatever. Of course, the situation varies, but I can give a personal example with my husband. When we started dating, I asked him for his number. I said, "Hey, how come you haven't asked me for my number yet?"
Right.
That was very forward of me, But I think I wholeheartedly agree with Jordan in the spiritual sense of that phrase, because yes, the Bible does say when a man findeth a wife, right? So I don't think that when it comes to marriage, that should be something that is led or spearheaded by the woman. I believe that our job in a girlfriend role or a fiance role is to connect directly to God and talk about what we want, let him know what we're looking for. And I think that it's God's, I guess, responsibility in that sense to work on the husband that we're praying for, or work on the man that we're praying for, to ensure that, whatever we're asking from him aligns not only with what we want, but what he wants as well. Right. I think the whole idea of a man proposing, a man going out of their way to ask your parents for your hand in marriage, and so on, that's in the finding the finding process. Yes, I guess. Because I mean, I wouldn't propose. I wouldn't. Some women are different. Some women these days are proposing to men. That's not my calling. Was not
Right.
um, I definitely agree with Jordan in the sense of like, of course, our job is to be, I guess, the weaker vessel in the sense of having the man do the more work in that area, if that makes sense, which is finding his wife, courting the woman, getting to know her, praying himself, making sure that who he's courting is someone he wants as well. And I think until that time when he understands that this is his wife, we're here as well, praying, connecting, preparing ourselves to be a wife. So I can kind of agree with both sides, of course, with Lady D and Auntie Sharon on the more literal sense. Don't let opportunities just pass you by. But definitely agree with Jordan in the spiritual sense that that is a situation where I feel like us as women, we are to step back and let our husband find us.
Thank you so much. We'd like to once again welcome you to Satideh Mawnin Runnings here on Voices with Lady D on the YouTube channel. We are seeing several of you. So to those of you who have shared the link and you've invited your guests, we ask that you subscribe while you're there, like the page, and share it with someone else. The page is growing. The platform is growing. I am growing. My husband is growing with me, and we are doing things. So we want to be able to bless everybody. And this conversation here this morning, it's a conversation that some people are having to a lesser degree. It's really on the surface, as opposed to other people who want to learn, want to know, what do I do? How can you guide me in this regard? Because it's a critical step and crucial to our lives, having someone come into our lives. We're from different backgrounds. We have been taught and socialized differently. So coming together, understanding each other, the prayer component, because God forbid, I had said, you know what, Denise, do not go take up no unsaved man.
Oh no.
It doesn't work. Statistics will show you that when Christian women get into relationships with men who are not born again, walking, not only chewing the Bible leaf, but walking diligently with Christ, we follow. So you end up go outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you, you
It's
will
hard. It's hard to bring him in. It's easier for him to take you out than for
yes.
you to bring him in. Yeah.
So we want you to hear that. That when men will tell you, oh, I will come with you to church and so on, he will visit 2 little time and so on, and then you end up having to be prodding, and then they
Yeah.
start to, and you know, because you want to, I'm telling you, it's you have to think in a practical sense, ladies.
Yeah.
So I will not veer off too much, but just to say, be aware of the people who approach you, who you approach, and what their MO is. So you can tell right away, this ain't going nowhere. And once you get that checklist, you keep moving. Okay. So we want to, Sharik, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question to the ladies based off
Go right ahead.
what you just said. I know Jordan just spoke, so I wanted to give Marcy and Tiffany a chance to speak. What you said, Lady D, was the perfect segue into this question that I had for them. Whereas we've always heard like, well, okay, let me rewind. There already is a lack of conversation in the church about like the dating phase. Let's just throw it out there. Everybody assumes that you're supposed to meet a man, marry him first date, and that's it. There's no conversation in the in between on how to date as a Christian woman, what it looks like, boundaries, things of that nature. We kind of have to figure that out ourselves, and how we have been figuring out ourselves for however long. So that's a conversation for another day. But I put that disclaimer there because it has also been said as well that like if you're looking for a saved man and a godly man, that you're only going to find him in the church. You're only going to find him going to church every Sunday. You're only going to find him on the piano or praise and worship leader, youth pastor, evangelist, whatever, deacon, whatever. That it seems like that's where the saved men live and, commune. But we have also seen and personally witnessed that is not so true. So I want to get your opinion on that, Marcy. When it comes to looking for a saved, significant other, spouse, fiance, whatever. How do you feel about that? Only finding them in the church, and if so, have you had a situation where you've encountered a saved man that might not be heavily involved in church, but you believe he's saved and has a relationship with Christ? How does it, work for you?
Okay, it's a very interesting question. I'm not gonna lie. And I want to start off by saying, for sure, I do believe that in our church we should have a singles ministry, because that's where you ground and you empower young adults to even desire who desire marriage, and then we learn the skills there. And thank God I have a mentor like Lady D who's always like, Mars, you gotta iron your shirt. Mars, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. So she's kind of grooming me. She's kind of grooming me already for that. But I do believe that you can find a good Christian man not in the church. And when I say not in the church, I mean like not coming to church every Sunday, or not preaching, or or not like either playing the drums or playing an instrument. I do believe that there are good guys out there, but at the end of the day, it comes down to purpose and calling, and it comes down to the call of God in your life. And if I know for a fact one of my anointings is maybe, for example, like the prophetic anointing or something like that, I wouldn't want just a regular church guy. You know what I mean? I would want someone who is in alignment to that path that I'm on spiritually, right? So I do think that you can find a good guy and a good Christian guy out there. And to answer your question, yes, I've met a few guys out there and in the church also. And when you compare them, it's like the ones that are not coming to church regularly are better than the ones that are in church. So it's like a 50-50. I think it's a 50-50. And I think that ultimately it boils down to you and what are you willing to sacrifice, and just owning the call of God in your life, and knowing that I don't just want a partner, but I want a purpose partner, and I want someone who I can walk with and who is ordained by God for me. And to that point, who is ordained by me, I had a conversation with my dad. My dad's a pastor, and he was like, you can find, I don't think, he doesn't think that God has like just one person for you. I don't think so. Take for instance, there's a guy named Jerry, right? And you and Jerry's great. Jerry's a purpose. His purpose is great. The call of God in his life is great. But there's also Mark. Mark also has the similar calling. It doesn't necessarily mean that Jerry's for you. Mark can also be for you because he's also in alignment with God's will, and that call is also on your life. So I think God gives us partners based on purpose, based on calling, and based on something to fulfill in this earth. And so yes, you can find it both in church and not in church, but a Christian. That's what I believe.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Jordan, what do you think?
I just want to get some clarity, I guess, on your question. If you mean like if we need to meet them in church, or are they church goers?
I would say meet them in
Yeah.
church. I think church goers is
Yeah, I don't think I need to, like, I've always been a firm believer. And I'm not so much now, but I was a firm believer in not wanting to date in the church that I was attending, just because of my role. I don't necessarily believe that now, because the church I attend is a little bit larger. So I don't mind that. But just because of my role, like in leadership and things like that, I wanted to separate the two. I don't believe that now. I do think that it's possible to meet Christian men outside of the church building, though. Like, I have met people at events, and I think that's why it's so important to go out and to put yourself out there, to Lily's earlier point. But I've met people at the different events that I go to, that I might produce. I've met people just outside, like at a restaurant, and you end up finding out that they are avid church goers. Now, I don't think you actually need to be in a physical church house or bump into somebody on a Sunday, like a cute meet cute. I don't think it needs to be that per se. But I do think that Marcy is also correct in the sense that you probably, especially depending on the calling on your life. Like, I know somebody like myself that's so heavily involved in church. I would want my partner to also be involved in church as well, just so that there's a mutual understanding there. Because, people can have different feelings about that. But I do think that their purpose in your life, their purpose in their life, and your purpose in your life should align. They don't have to be the same, but they should fit. And so typically, if things are going to fit, you should be equally yoked, in the sense that we both care this much about the things of God. What breaks his heart breaks my heart, etc. And I think equally yoked depends on your level, right? So if we are avid church goers, we're equally yoked on that. If we're involved in church, we're equally yoked on that. And so, yeah, I think you can meet people anywhere. I think God has a sense of humor, and you can meet somebody on a train, you can meet somebody at a restaurant, and they be the exact person that the Lord has for you.
Right. So if I may, so Cliffy, what is your has your experience been?
It's very tricky. But I will condense it by saying that the dating scene out here in this generation that we're living in, it's very touch and go. Again, to what has just been shared, if you find someone and you are not equally yoked, then it can absolutely cause some type of disappointment, or a very heavy sense of disheartening, because at least for me, I've been, trying to find or be visible for a minute now. And so every maybe quarter of the year, I'm like, God, what's happening? What's going on? Like, is there anyone out here? And of course, it's reciting the promises that God has spoken, and making sure that your desire for marriage, at least for me, making sure that my desire for marriage is pure, and it's to, at the end of the day, serve him. Because when you are meshed with someone else, whether it's a platonic
And the
relationship, a
condominiums, the
business
Christian
relationship.
gentlemen and all the things that
You
we
want to
do.
make sure that at the end of the day, God is getting the glory out of it. And so it can be disheartening. It can lead to some disappointments, but just figuring out what the center is, making sure that I don't go off course, and finding myself unequally yoked just because I want to fill that quote unquote void or that empty space.
Mhm. So here is a question I'd like to ask. So let's use the term combo. So if you are seeking to find or wanting to meet or hoping and praying that a man who comes with, let me read my, he's a Christian gentleman. He is well cultured, well educated, comes from a good background. How do you see him based on where you are from? I'm going to put it like that. You know why? Because sometimes we may feel that as much as we're aspiring, you girls are aspiring in your various disciplines, you may meet someone who, after talking to him, so I want to know, where is your self-confidence that I'm as good as any other person you have met out there, no matter your accolades? How do you measure yourself? Because when you meet, what are you looking for in the first instance? What are you looking for in him? Is it what he should look like? The job he should have? He's a Christian. What are some of the prime questions that are asked when you meet someone to determine that you're not mine? So have you met that combo man and he just was not cutting it? Or you met someone, because in my later years, realized, ladies, that sometimes when you meet someone, we're not looking at their potential. They might say, oh, I'm in school now, studying to be. But because of where you are now, you may not want to wait for him to achieve. So he passes you by. So there are a myriad of things I'm putting to you as to who are you looking for and why.
I'll say I'm saying that I would like my partner to be somebody who, first and foremost, is a man of God. I think that's my main non-negotiable. I've had other non-negotiables in the past, like a certain level of education, etc. Because I think, as Auntie Sharon's mentioned earlier, like we are all kind of like boss ladies in our own right, but not wanting to come off like too much of a boss lady. But I think regardless of what you come off as, sometimes who you are can be intimidating. So like I have my master's degree in education, and I also have I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own business, and so I've experienced that sometimes that can be intimidating to men who don't also have their own degree. I don't think that was a non-negotiable for me before, but I definitely have had experiences where like if they didn't have their master's degree or if they didn't have a certain level of education, they felt uncomfortable with me, and that's not somebody that I want to be with. And so while that's not a non-negotiable for me, I think ultimately I would just want them to have their own self-confidence in whatever degree you have. And also just be a man of God ultimately. I think if you truly are a child of God, I think everything else that I would desire kind of falls under that umbrella. So I've learned not to necessarily have a checklist per se and just want the person to be who God has for me. Because in this day and age, with people who with the different ways that people can achieve success in this day and age, I don't mainly think that having like a certain level of degree or all of that defines success as much anymore, right? People are making money as entrepreneurs on social media, as influencers, as whatever the case may be, on all different levels of education. So I think back in the day, that might have been something that was very important. I don't think that determines success now. So I don't fully have a checklist. I think I just want somebody who honors the Lord and will honor his wife as well.
And I thank you for your honesty. I can confess I had a checklist. It was like
Mhm.
20 things on there.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Rip it
I
up.
don't know what I was thinking, but I knew at the time where I was.
Yeah.
But until the Lord had said to me in one prayer, I'm there praying over this long list of 20 something.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, Denise, put away the list. That was the last of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then they all came.
I didn't leave the list.
And I'm sure half of what I had on the list. Wait, so never mind. My producer is distracting me. But nevertheless, thank you, Lainey. I just wanted to hear, So Mars, what's your thing? What are you looking for?
Okay, so Lady definitely, I had a list for sure. And when I tell you the list was long, from A to Z, the list was long. But for me, I think I'm similar to Jordan. I want like someone who's a Christian, someone who prays, someone who believes in God, who understands that they have a call of God in their life, and they're wanting and they're seeking someone who can help them fulfill that calling, right? So that's something that I want. And I would want someone, I think that as someone who's pursuing my PhD right now, which I should, if all goes well, through semesters, because semesters are crazy and the work is a lot, but I'm aiming to graduate in the next 2 years. I don't necessarily think that the person that I'm gonna meet might have a PhD, but it doesn't matter for me, right? I think for me, if you're driven, if you're goal oriented, and if you're driven, I think that that's the most nicest feature on a man, like that I would look for, or that I would be attracted to, because it says that it doesn't matter if you have a master's or a bachelor's, whatever it is, but at least you're driven, you're working towards something in life, and I can do with that, right? Someone who's very humble, for sure. I'm very down to earth, so I would want someone who's humble, someone who's family oriented, and just someone who's gonna treat me like I'm the best thing that's ever happened to them, like for real.
Sliced bread.
Huh? Yeah,
Some
someone who's
sliced
gonna
bread.
treat me like an answered prayer. And so that's what I want from the person I want. And yeah, ultimately someone who, they say, get someone who loves you more than your dad, or like someone who loves you more than anything else. I think that if you find a Christian, and like a true Christian guy, I think that should already be innate in him, because in order to love, you have to experience Christ-like love, to even showcase a love to someone, right? So you would have to be in tune with the Holy Spirit, because God is love. So you can't love if you have not experienced that. So I would want someone who has all that.
All right. So Sharik, I pass it over to you.
Yes, I'm really glad you did, because I have a very, I would say I have a very different perspective on your question. And my answer is also coming from having a list and not having a list. So hold on, let me just make sure I got my Bible here. Okay. So when I was dating, I had a list, and of course it was things like, I hate cooking. I wanted my husband to be able to cook, different things like that. I'm a hopeless romantic. I like flowers. My husband has to buy me flowers every week. It was little things like that. And then I got engaged, and it's like something changed. And I realized that, as you said, Lady D, you coined it as combo man, right? So my definition of combo man isn't necessarily accolades, education, different things like that. Of course, non-negotiable has to be a man of God. Like, I mean, there is no moving forward if you don't believe the same thing that I believe. If you don't believe that Jesus Christ is the Redeemer, there's nothing for us to talk about. So that's obviously the non-negotiable.
Right.
But my combo man actually falls in First Corinthians 13:4, 4 to 8, I guess. Oh yeah, no, 4 to 7. And the reason why I call that my combo man is because when I got engaged and I was really praying for my fiance at the time, what I did was I thought to myself, the Bible clearly lets us know that love endures all things. Love cures all things. Love is the standard, right? So what I did was I actually replaced my husband's name with the word love in this scripture. And to me, that was the combination I needed. So the scripture says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, right? So the way I would read it was, John is patient, John is kind, John does not envy, John does not boast, John is not proud, John does not dishonor others, John is not self-seeking, John is not easily angered, John keeps no record of wrong, John does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. John always protects, John always trusts, John always hopes, John always perseveres, John never fails. So in my eyes, once he checks off all of that, that's the combo man, you know? So that's
right.
I looked at it in that way.
Agreed.
And in the same breath as well, you know, before I was letting you guys know that, like, once I got engaged, I was preparing myself to be a wife. I also replaced the word love with I mean,
Yeah.
and I thought to myself, all right, like, if I'm saying that this man has to follow this scriptural checklist for
So
me,
do you.
and
Yeah.
I'm on the same scriptural checklist for him. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first did it, I was like, I got some work to do.
Right.
I was like, I got some work to do. But it's something that I would even, like, you know, push for young wives or women that are wanting to be wives to kind of keep as a checklist for yourself. Are you patient? Are you kind? Do you dishonor others? Like, it was a wake-up call for me. But it keeps me in line. And it also, I believe, was the answer for me where I felt like, okay, like, if John checks all of these things off, that's all I want. Everything else can come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of the other things that we have on our checklist is more superficial things.
Yeah.
Because I don't like cooking, but now I'm cooking. You know what I mean?
It sure is.
Things can change. You know what I'm saying? Things can change. I feel like as long as it kind of follows a spiritual checklist, that would be mine. So I would recommend that for others as well.
Yeah,
Well,
and I think
thank you.
I'll follow that up by saying those are the characteristics that I meant to say. Like, once they're a man of God, those are the things that should be innate to them, right? Like, while you're praying that over John, that's something he should be striving for himself as well, which we know he was, right? Like, that's something that should be leaning towards on his own account.
Okay, great. Now, I would just like for us to take a quick pause here and acknowledge our guests as they are posting their comments here. So I see this is Mommy saying, morning, Mama, sugar dumpling. That's Sherry's Shakira. Okay, good morning. Marcia Alexis, good morning to you. Also, let's see. And she says, and my Jordy Boo and Cliffany. Yes, nice.
Hi, Auntie Shad.
Lovey says, hi, my babies. It's good to see each and every one of you. All right. She's the best. Book Jordan. Yes, lady. Mr. We train lady, lady fly gone. I tell you. Evol says, a pleasant good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on Saturday morning. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. And Sister Morrison, you made it. So nice to have you. Dana says, good morning, Dana. Dana, you're taking notes all over again. Jessica, good morning. Rachel says, yes, sister.
That's my little sister.
Camroy says, hey, Camroy, good morning to you. Also, who is this now? Anwar Hussein. Good morning, Anwar. Shakira says, oh, not looking, should be found. Love that, lady. You drop a bomb there, so a nugget right there. And in the back office, producer is saying, I hope the brothers are listening. All right. Steady Lou. Good morning, Steady. Interesting topic. Yes, it is. So I want to ask you, ladies, because so producer sent me a note. Can there be any room for the ladies to pray for a fine, non-saved man to be their husband?
Non-saved?
Mm-hmm.
No. Fine.
Unsaved.
Fine, yes. Unsaved, no.
No. Yeah, we throw that through the
fine. I'm not praying for unsaved. That's between you and the Lord.
Okay. So I know that we may have a list or we may not have one. However, there are times when, as women, we are driven doing all that we're doing, right, Sharon Z? But there are things that we need to work on as well.
Mm-hmm.
Habits, tendencies, all kinds of things that we need to work on, which of course includes putting our money away, saving, having good credit, all of those things. Because I'm telling you, there are people who will say if you have bad credit, they're not with you. Because if the whole time they are doing what they're doing and keeping their credit good, and then you come over here, hell going break loose. So money is
you got to be a Proverbs 31 woman.
There you go. But there are things that you also have to work on, whether it is how you present yourself, whether it's in how you treat people, speak to people, whether it's in just how people see you. Sometimes people see things in us that we don't see. And when it is mentioned to us, we take an offense because we're perfect. We don't have anything to work on. And I've often said that if a man is seeking God for that woman he wants to send to him, if we are broken and pretty much out of order and popped down, he's not going to send you to him. He's not going to pass you on to that man who has been so diligent, dutiful in his commitment to God, and send you to him.
Right.
Which means we have to be honest enough to say, these are the things that I know I am flawed in. I'm going to petition you, Lord, to help me to work through them and be purposeful while you're doing it. Because truthfully, we don't want a woman who has raised a good man and she says, fine, you may go to marry, and then you whip him left, right, and center. So there are things that we have to work on. Of the three of you here, do you know your flawed areas? What are you doing about them?
I've surrounded myself, or the Lord has surrounded me with married women, Sharek being one of them, but also Stacey Ann. I have friends like Denisha, my sister, and Lady D now is a part of that group. And so I've been surrounded by married couples for a while now that have poured into me, giving me advice, talking to me. And the Bible says open rebuke is better than hidden love. And so a lot of them, when I speak on certain things, or I have friendships that are healthy enough to call things out. And so if I do need to be called out on things, they do just that. And I work through them with prayer. I think deliverance is also a big thing. I'm a firm believer in deliverance because some of the things that we have are in us and not necessarily on us. They're generational, and they're spiritual, right? And they're things that are on your back. And so I go to a church that believes, holds deliverance if you need an appointment, if you need prayer and things like that. And so I have gone through deliverance on my own, not necessarily because I want a husband, right? But just because of who I am as an individual, as a daughter of the Most High God and stuff like that. I want to make sure that I'm who He's called me to be. So it's becoming who He's called me to be first, and then who He's called me to be ultimately is a wife also, right? And so I would say having open and honest conversations with the people that He's placed around me, going through deliverance, prayer, and holding myself to a particular standard that I think really comes from my mother. Like, like we could be going to the supermarket and she's like, iron your clothes, fix your hair, look appropriate. If you guys know Sister Donna, she's going to the street and she's dressed to Pussfoot, right? So I think that's always been a standard for me growing up. So the inward things are the things that I've worked on in the past few years. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Wonderful. Cliffy, how is that going for you?
Yeah, I think a big part of wanting growth is to want it for yourself. And so doing the hard work for yourself, not to what Jordan just said, not for anyone else, not to appease anyone else, not to fit in a box of what others view you as or what their perspective of you may be. It's doing the work for yourself. So I've gone to therapy. I've stopped therapy, restarted therapy, stopped therapy, restarted therapy, but making that a priority for myself, whatever trauma, childhood trauma, whatever, disarray, dysfunction, whatever it may be, I'm talking to a professional about it. Yes, you can get counsel from leaders at church. Yes, you can get the spiritual covering, but you also absolutely need to do the work of building and rebuilding who you desire yourself to be, which is who God desires for us to be, who He created us to be, doing that hard work, holding myself accountable, allowing others in my inward circle to hold me accountable as well, so that I am doing self recognition, self-evaluation, introspective, looking at who I am on the inside, so that there is a change, so that when I do introduce myself to someone else, it is the not finished product, but I am a grown up version of who I am destined to be.
Right. Okay. Mars?
I think it first starts with being honest with myself, right? And knowing we can put aside the weaknesses and we can just focus on the strengths. Well, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, I'm good at that. But what do I really have to work on? And to Clifton's point and to Jordan's point, I think that one, in the multitude of counselors, there's safety. So I'm happy that I have my parents that I can go to, who've been married for 30 plus years, that I can go to and I can just get some nuggets of relationships and advice from. To Lady D, who's always cornering me at church. Marcy, I'm gonna tell you, say if I iron your shirt. So it's really and I really appreciate it, because I think that when you want to, you aspire to be a wife, you aspire to be that, that thing, being a wife. I think that sometimes we just think, many young women just want to just be married, but being a wife, it's a duty, it's a job, it's a responsibility. It's it's something to fulfill. And so you have to be well equipped, well empowered. And so it says, okay, cool, I'm gonna start therapy because I feel like I have to work on myself so I can be the very best version of me, not 100% perfect, but a restored version, a version who is ready to be a mom, ready to be a wife, ready to be that for a person. We have, I mean, when I talk about when I think of my weaknesses, I have a lot of weaknesses, but I'm very honest with them, and I know them. So I'm not, and to add to that point, I remember like I was talking to Lady D one time and we were talking about like, this one guy. And I was telling her, well, he has all these strengths, but this is the weaknesses. But I'm not willing to sacrifice the weaknesses because that's important to me, right?
Mhm.
So I have to also think of that too. Like, what if I'm everything, but then my weaknesses and I don't want to work on it, that's something important to him. So I also have to like know how to navigate that. And so I think it's important to want to be honest with yourself and open and say, hey, I'm flawed. I'm a hot mess, but I'm working through it. And God is restoring me one by one. And
Right.
yeah, I think that's what it is. I think for me,
Great.
that's
Shanti,
always my
you
answer.
have anything to say before I pass it over to Cherie?
Yeah, well, all the points are valid, and you know what your greatness weakness is and all that, but sometimes a strength can also be a weakness. Sometimes you're so self-assured, and you wear many hats, and you've been endowed with talents and giftings, and you have to sort of walk in wisdom, because sometimes men get a little overwhelmed and kind of scared off, because they're like, how can I measure up? You know what I mean? So by no means are you going to dim your light. I'm not saying dim your light, lessen who you are, but sometimes we just have to sort of know how to temper it down just a tad. It's there, and it's going to benefit the marriage. You know what I mean? Because God has so given you what he needs. It's amazing how God puts people together. I'm coming 40 something years with my husband, and so we grew together. We didn't have lists, and we didn't have careers, and all that came with the time. But by the same token, I was I had godly women around me. I had family members, church people who kind of grew just like Marcy. You say, Lady D said, iron your shirt, do this and that. They tell you, put yourself together. You're going out, you represent. You don't go out and you look down and you look halfway. Because I've heard women say, oh my gosh, I met this man. Even people my age, I have friends my age, acquaintances, and they will say, oh, the one day I don't look so right is when he saw me. The one day I didn't put myself together is when he saw me. You know what I mean? I didn't do this with my hair. I was wearing the right thing. So appearances, the physicality by all means is also very important. You know what you are inside, and we are beautiful, and we are wonderfully made, and we are God's children, and we are all that. But the physicality, you need something attractive. Same way you want to see him, and he's a hunker, piece of hot chocolate, whatever. I mean, hot chocolate, a piece of chocolate or a cup of hot chocolate, whatever. But you also know that men are looking for not eye candy per se, but they want a package. The internal, whatever you possess, but also your outside. Let's not forget Esther.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I don't want to keep going on, but that's it.
That's fine. So, Sharik, what say you? Because we're just here piggybacking. But what say you? Oh, Sharik froze. All right, but I'm thankful that you're all being vulnerable. The thing about it is your appearance is important, especially to a man who values that. How you speak to him, and Sharon's touched something which is very true. A lot of us will be accomplished in a lot of areas, but how do you manage that when you meet someone or you're actually in a relationship? Because my skill set is different from Eval's. But at the same time, the blessing is that he has come. We're both come into each other's lives. And so we have merged our skill sets. So now voices has become ours. So it's no longer, me run the show. I host it. But for everything I'm doing, he's acknowledged. Because if you're not careful, you can still be there, a hoard up the thing. So you have to be mindful of that. And also, even if he does not have 1, 2, 3 degrees, or he stopped at grade 9, I'm telling you, potential, potential, potential. He may have the potential to do other things. How do you? Because you never know, the Lord sometimes have a sense of humor, you see, that he may just bring someone to say, all right, Marcy, the PhD will come, but here is what I have for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you going to do with that now?
Right.
Are you going to then say, the boy lady didn't meet him, but him only have, and you know me already. I will just say, and what else? What
Right.
else is there to him that appeals to you other than the fact that he doesn't have a degree? Is not everybody going to have a degree? But you see these two hands here, so when they are put to task and can do anything that don't require, and in any case, anything you have to do with your hands, it comes from here
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So he's no dodo.
Yeah.
So I'm
But
just
sometimes you have some people, their dreams have been deferred. They started off with something and because of circumstances and so on, they had to make a pause because the good God has so, given to us all giftings. And sometimes that you have an interest in an area, but because of situations, whatever, you weren't able to pursue, but it's still there. When you meet somebody and you recognize, there's a song that says there's a king in you. The person might not be kinging it, Remember, I said David was a shepherd,
Same
and
way.
I remember my pastor had preached a message and he said, you have to sheep it before you can king it. So the person might be sheeping it right now, they are shepherd in the field. Not the king is coming, the king is there. But you have to start someplace. And sometimes the person may not be surrounded by the right people to push them that last mile.
Yes.
But then here you come and you're a compliment to them. So if you recognize that in the person, then you're there to kind of assist them then or give them that last little nudge to accomplish that, and you'd be surprised.
And truthfully, if that man says, here is a woman who I think will be a blessing to me, if he doesn't push back on your achievements, you're good.
Yeah.
If he welcomes you, if he even offers to say, what else can I help you with? I might not be able to write you your thesis, and I can't, but what else can I sit with you? You want me read the book while you making notes? You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So you have to also look at those things. You're on mute, Shanzi.
Oh yeah, somebody that I know, a couple that I know, the husband had a regular job, regular 9 to 5 professional job, but the wife was pursuing her master, not masters or doctorate. And I remember, she came down when she was doing her thesis. She was very buried in a lot of work, probably like you are, Marcy. And you know what he said? He said, and she said, she called a couple of us and say, you got to pray me through and want you to. He said to her, you do the work. I will fast and pray on your behalf.
There you
know
go.
what I mean? He said, you don't have to be doing the work and you fasting. I will fast. I will pray you through. And he was there with her. They had twins in the interim. And he said, I will pray you through. I will fast. I will do whatever. The physicalities, I will do all the heavy lifting. You're the brains, carry it. But I am here as your backup. And I thought that was tremendous.
I endorse that, because sometimes you have to remember, ladies, you all have your own experiences. So do they. And a lot of them have been through either bad relationships. They come away scarred. And you don't mean to be their mother, because men not looking mother, but they're looking for support. They're looking for that person who will listen. Your role is to pay attention to what they say, how it is said, who it is said for, by, all kinds of things, and hash it out. Never be afraid when a man shares his weaknesses, his challenges, and you think it's a big old turn off. And you have your own sit down there, pretty looking at. So you also have to say, all right, he's willing to be as vulnerable with me. What do I say, Lord? How do I guide? How do I help? Because maybe the situation was so bad that he's left scarred. Him don't know now. He's desirous of all sort of something, but don't know how to channel himself properly. And here you are. So I am just saying, in this whole scheme here of the wanting to date, the finally meeting, the conversations, and so on, you're paying attention, you're asking questions, you need to know him shoplift anytime at all, or tell me who you are so there are no surprises. And I'll share with you, Evel and I, this is me with my questions. Yes, I'm a Christian and me see him every day in the house of the Lord, sitting all, pious and taking in the word.
Prim and proper.
Prim and proper. And will tell you that he was not looking and he was so broken and he wanted to be restored. And thankfully, he sat there. We met from 2019 and it's 2023. We actually had any kind of conversation. We're just there as friends. But he knew that he would not benefit anyone, any woman, coming all mash up. So he had to get himself healed before he could, do anything at all. So sometimes if you realize that they may have had challenges, do you need time? You ask. Make sure. But I will say, do not be prejudiced in your approach. You have to say, Lord, here is this person. I tell people, I went online, went out on a few dates. You sit, you talk, you pay attention. The dates may be only 3, because by the time 2 come, you're like, Then you say 3, no, sir. And most of these, you find them on Christian sites. But by the time you start talking to them, you realize their value system is not yours, like yours. A lot of things, but you allow the conversation to go. You don't sit there now trying to fix nobody. You allow them to speak. That's how you listen, and you're able to determine. Any mistakes you've had in life, the Lord just turned that leaf over. You've surrendered them. Now he has cleaned you up, and you're in that mindset. I desire to be a wife. And just know that the wedding, as fancy as it has been, Lainey did a fabulous job being manager for Sharik's wedding. What's her name? Karine did mine. And that's just the day. That's only a day, You see, when you go to hotel or you don't have the money or you go wherever afterwards, it begins there. So I'm just pointing that out to you. So Miss Sharik, so happy you're back. We're wrapping up. You do your thing now.
Sorry, guys, had a little technical difficulties there.
Yeah.
But I do want to say for the women who, the younger women who are looking to get married or is engaged right now and is preparing to get married. So my comment is kind of based off of the question that you were speaking about prior to the little technical difficulty there, which is if we're able to essentially like recognize our faults and what we're doing to fix them. So something that I really want like young, wives in training, I guess, to know is that there is absolutely a sacrifice that comes with marriage in the sense of,
yes, when you're in your singlehood, you're preparing yourself. You want to be better for yourself. You don't want to be better for anybody else because you're in your singlehood, right? So you want to make sure that everything you need to do to be the best version of yourself, that's what you're working on. But when you get married, you might realize that the things that you're working on is not necessarily something that pertains to the marriage, right? So even in my own personal experience, I went through my phase of working on things for myself, and then I got married and realized that that same thing that I'm working on for myself is not really beneficial to the marriage. It was beneficial to me because I was by myself. But now that I'm with someone, there might be things that my husband wants me to work on for myself that will benefit him and benefit our relationship. So I think that's extremely important for young wives in training to know that sometimes the things that you feel like may need to be worked on is not what's going to be beneficial for the marriage as a whole. Your husband might want you to work on things as well. And I think the sacrifice comes in where you make that decision. You know, are you willing to work on something that maybe you don't feel like you have to work on? Maybe you think to yourself, well, this has worked for me all my life, you know, I'm fine. And then you meet your purpose partner, right? You meet your significant other, you meet your future spouse, and he's like, well, actually, that doesn't work for me. This works for me. And it becomes a decision making. Okay, am I willing to compromise? Am I willing to sacrifice and things of that nature? So I think that's extremely important for young wives in training to understand that once you decide to, you know, make these steps with a spouse or make these steps with a partner, that your own desires, your own things that you might want for yourself, it might change. And does it mean it might change forever? Maybe not. Does it mean that, you know, you might need to put a hold on something right now so you can work on this part of the relationship? It might call for that as well. But there is a lot of twisting, turning. You have to be extremely malleable. You have to be extremely flexible to be able to mesh your life with your future partner's life. I know for me, getting married young was a goal of mine simply because I believe that, you know, in just my personal opinion, I felt like it was harder to have well established long life and then at a later age decide to mesh it with someone who might not be equally yoked, or it might be even a little bit harder. Like, I was really big on wanting to grow with my partner. I wanted us to have first experiences together. I wanted us to have first conversations with each other. I felt like it made it easier for me. And if you decide to take that route, it will require a lot of changing. Some things that you might not have known prior, some things that you might not have thought needed changing. You do have to definitely be malleable to your partner. So that's definitely something that I really want young wives in training to know, that you might go into the marriage thinking, well, I've worked so hard on myself and, you know, there's nothing to change. I've done everything I needed to do. And then your partner's like, well, actually, I don't like that. Or actually, this doesn't make me happy, or this doesn't fulfill me, or this doesn't sustain me. And now you're at a point where you're like, okay, so now I have to change something that I already trained myself to do in order to compromise and mesh with my partner. So definitely being malleable and flexible to whoever God, you know, puts in your life to be that partner for you is I feel like is extremely important.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah, flexibility is a must.
Yeah,
Flexibility is an absolute must.
right. So as we're wrapping up, Lainey, what would you like to say before you have to run?
I would just say that I think it's important to kind of have these conversations across experiences, right? So I know like Sharik and I talk about just stuff like this all of the time, but it's important to continue to cultivate these conversations and surround ourselves with people that have sense, right? And have gone through different experiences and are willing to share and be honest and vulnerable. And so thank you. And I just, you know, I pray that everybody's dating experience continues to go well or gets better if it's not going as it should be.
Right. Mars?
Right. I think Sharik, I think your wealth of knowledge in marriage. I think thank you for that. To be honest, definitely going to pattern my life based on the love. Example, Marcy's kind, Marcy's patient, etc., etc. So thank you for that. I love that. And I would say for me, my prayer and my ultimate prayer is that I would I want to do what God is blessing and not have him bless what I'm doing. So I don't want him to bless, like, say for instance, I get a guy. I don't want him to bless just that, because that might not be his will for my life. But I want to do what he's blessing, because ultimately what he's blessing is the perfect thing for me, right? And so that's my prayer, that we all find, Cliffany, Jordan, myself, and homegirls, everyone out there, find men who's gonna love us and who's gonna take care of us, and who is going to love us the way that God ultimately loves the church, because I think that's perfect. And thank you guys so much for having me here. So much knowledge and love and marriage. Ew. I'm actually super, super ready. I am super ready to be married. You can ask Lady B.
Yes, ma'am.
I like it. Super ready. I like it, Marcy.
And I think that's something, so Cliff, I want to say to you ladies quickly, if you desire the thing, be happy about it. Somebody asks you, don't just say, oh, when it come. Yes, I am ready. I'm prepared. You speak it. You feel, get yourself into that mindset that when it is mentioned, you're on it. You're saying, oh, I'm just waiting, in the bayou. No.
The bye.
You just want to be ready, man, feeling confident that today I'm stepping out in purpose and all of that. So go now, Cliff.
Sorry, can I just hop in really quick? I know Cliffany's gonna go, but I'm in the same vein about being just happy about marriage. I know Shaq mentioned earlier that we don't really talk about dating in the church period, but I kind of want to just encourage those of us that, on the right side of the camera, that the dating experience is fun and it's purposeful, and there's something to be experienced in that as well. So while we're excited for marriage and that's the goal and that's the ultimate, that's what God has for us, I think sometimes the dating experience can be discussed almost as like laborious, or like all the things that we have to do and the things and how it's terrible with this jazz. But I just want you guys to know that there is something, while there are things to be learned in marriage, there's things to be learned in this season as well. So don't despise this season. There are things that we're going to be able to do while we're single that we can't do while we're married. So it's not that you're going to grieve either one, right? But just to be joyous in what the Lord has you now, and to receive everything that he has for you in this season, the people that you meet, whether they work out or they don't. And then ultimately know that this is pruning you for the final stage, but enjoy the in-between. It shouldn't feel like hell. It should feel like growth. Okay.
Absolutely.
Let me hop behind you, Jordan. That's true. Let me just say that doing the dating, that's not something that's not a step to just jump over. Like, this is
right.
point A and point B. No. That's a very important part, because that's when you learn the person. You learn you learn everything about them. How are they when they're sad, when they're mad, when they're broke, when they're sick? How is the family dynamic?
Exactly.
I am a talker. I love to talk. Me and my husband did a lot of talking.
Yeah.
We did a lot of, you'll find areas of common interest. Because remember, life is a marathon. It's not a quick sprint. So enjoy the dating part.
Yeah.
The dating part, you don't have children who are demanding your attention, because you're gonna have children, then you're gonna have probably, and then life is moving on, so your parents are aging. I've gone through where I have had to raise my children. Now I have grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
I went through aging with my parents till the passing and stuff of my mother 2 years ago. So it's different seasons, and your attention, the demand is placed on your attention. You know, you all talk about your giftings and your perfections and all the things you're involved in. That's something that can take your attention. Jordan, you had said, you know, you want the person to be in ministry and do things because they'll understand, you know, how your lifestyle is. If you're over this, you want them to be over there doing that, not sitting down to come because they don't have nothing to do.
You had said you
and
will
all
send
this,
me and you we were prayer or something. Yeah.
and all that. But enjoy the dating is what I'm saying. Because
Yes,
that
have
part of
fun.
it, I had absolutely loved that part of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So enjoy
Yeah.
the dating.
There you go. Cliffy.
For sure.
Yes, I agree with everyone that spoke. I think it's very
I'm going to
important
tell
for
Cliffy
us
how
to
to
have
posture
platforms
herself
where
and
we
look more
can
confident.
share
Mhm.
and share our experience and get some insight from others' experiences. And I think having a continual discussion of the realities of dating is also necessary. And then also, I was telling someone not too long ago where the arranged marriages, where like families knew other families and bring together, you know, those who are, it's not for everybody, but like having a community of people who are saying, hey, I know somebody, what, like, you know, let's connect like that. And even if it doesn't go to a romantic thing,
Yes.
something beautiful can happen when a conversation sparks and continues. So I absolutely love that this was a discussion that was had, and I hope it continues for sure.
Wonderful. So, Sharik, your final comments?
Well, this was really, really fun. Thank you, Lady D, for bringing me back again. I didn't know I was going to be like kind of hosting too, so that was really cool. Great experience. I'm always available to come back whenever you need me. Thank you so much. Ladies, Jordan, Cliffany, Marcy, you guys are beautiful from inside out. God truly continues to shine his light on all three of you guys. You guys are so favored in ways that you might not even see now, but I see it. I definitely see it.
There you go.
And I definitely pray that not only that you guys get to the point of marriage, obviously, because this is the topic, but that you just continue to grow closer to Christ, where waiting doesn't even feel like anything. All you're worried and focused about is staying close to Christ, having him continue to reveal to you your purpose, continue to reveal to you where you need to be to get to the next level of your life, whether it be marriage or not. At the end of the day, that is the focus, that we are ready when he comes. And, you know, hopefully we have a husband before that happens. But until then, right, I definitely will keep you guys prayed up. Absolutely. And if you need to reach out to me, text me, call me, hit me up. But this was great. I loved it. Great
I
conversation.
love it too. Hello. So quickly before we go, so my sister says, good morning, everyone. Women evolve daily. We come with faults, etc. However, we must be willing to change. Change is continuous. I believe strongly that a husband can be assigned to help you becoming the very best version of you. Good job, Lady D. Proud of you. Thank you, Jenny. Proud of us all. And Ebol says, I think Mrs. Jenkins' list of the love verse should be practiced by all women who desire to be married. I certainly notice those things in Lady D, who has become my wife. Well, I thank you very kindly. All right, Damone says, hey, Damone says, Chrissy and Marcy just dropped some gems. Okay.
Period.
You're very right, Lady Sharnette. The Christian brother also wants a fine woman.
Fine.
Can see how lots of plumbers, electricians, and contractors make a good living from their trade. Amen. There you go.
Yes.
Sometimes the person feels inferior if the partner has PhD and he only has skills. And we touched on that and how you can make them not feel that way. Woman of wisdom, you are Sister Sharnette, the king and the shepherd boy. David was dormant for years. There, there haven't been potential. What is that, Brother Green? In some men waiting for a woman of wisdom and substance to unearth.
On earth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Damon, say I'm preaching. Preach on, Sister Lady D. Enid says, and this will cause conflicts in my case. Shakira says, that's mommy. Yes, my husband did as well. When I was in school, it was very challenging being a wife and mother and going to law school. And my husband said, you do school and I will fast and pray. And mom, hey.
Yep.
You see
John
what I
wants to
mean?
say hi, guys.
Oh, well, you know,
Hey,
we wondered.
John.
Well,
There
we
he
have,
is.
John, how
How
are
you doing,
you?
ladies?
Let us see you properly.
Here we are.
Yes.
Hi,
Very
brother.
nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
We
Yes.
missed you last week, but thankfully you popped in. Good to see you, John.
John, yes. And Shakira says, I'm wrapping up, ladies, but we have to acknowledge our comments. And so when I was done, the degrees were very much also his as they were mine. Wonderful.
Wonderful.
We thank you for that.
And them two are two
You
peas
know?
in a pod, let me tell you.
Oh, God help your people. Oh, Lord. Sister Andrea says we're in counseling class. Okay. Lady D, sometimes the man that they're looking for may look poor and you don't want him, not knowing that he has few shilling and you just run him away. Tell them you're here, lovey. Yes, wives in training. Also, paper black. This is good conversation. I think this should continue and look at the flaws and how one can work through them. Great conversation, woman of God. Thank you on behalf of all the ladies here. And from all of us here, we said this was an awesome show. And good to see you, John. Congratulations. Arlene, you've been coming in to say the doxology. Good morning, everyone. Today, happy birthday, Arlene. Oh, Lord, we're so happy for you. God has blessed you today. We're thankful. And finally, we say here, Lovey says, I don't want to be in a wheelchair or lead. You don't want to lead any of you.
Ready?
Just in case you're all.
Don't worry, Auntie Lavina, you will not be in a wheelchair.
So we want to say, sorry, when I start laughing, I have to control myself as the host. But we'd like to say thank you so much for joining us here today. And we've had some honest reflections on preparing for marriage and the dating world, to embrace your purpose in singleness and navigating passion with wisdom. We've truly covered some rich ground. Also, to all you ladies, you've been amazing. Thank you for your transparency, your insight, and your faith-filled perspectives. And to our listeners and viewers, whether you're single, dating, engaged, or married, we hope something shared today reminded you that God's timing is still perfect and his plan for love is always worth the wait. Remember, your journey is valid, your story matters, and whether your I do happens in June or December, on a mountaintop or in a backyard, it's the love, the purpose, and the passion that makes it meaningful. So until next time, stay rooted. Stay hopeful, girls, and stay sweet. This has been Saturday Morning Runnings, where culture meets conversation on Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. We love you. We're going to go now, everybody. And Sharon, you want to kick it off because this is how we close the show.
All right, we've been having a conversation, so now I'm going to go. So, in our Jamaican vernacular, may I go in?
And
I'm going
Sharon,
back into my house. I'm going in.
Sharon, we groomed you last week. What say you this week?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Let's keep the conversation going. Most definitely.
All right.
Lady, you know any pathway you and Cliffy. So we would say, me I come go in now. Or me I come go on road.
Oh, you want me to say it now?
Something. Say something.
All right, may I go in? May I go in? I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much.
right.
You're
All
welcome.
right.
See you later. Bye.
Cliffy, what you saying? What is where they going?
God. Cliffy God.
Let me not get it. Anyhow, so blessings, Marcy. So we are saying we are going go up, go on in, galan in, go round, so go down. So go up. Sharon's I miss any? Go down.
No, you got them covered.
Me
Go round. All right, Marcy, you can't go wrong. Just send me a go wrong.
Yeah, me go wrong.
Good girl. Good girl.
Good. You got it, Mars. You got it. You got it.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. It's been great. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
Celebrate the heartbeat of Caribbean culture with Saturday Morning Runnings. Join us on Saturday at 10 a.m. on YouTube as we showcase the vibrant heritage of Jamaica and the wider Caribbean with 4 incredible women, Sherns, Max, Jackie, and yours truly, Lady D. From powerful stories to cultural traditions, we're bringing the flavor, rhythm, and excellence of the Caribbean straight to you. It's more than a show. It's a celebration of roots and traditions that inspire and unite us. Subscribe to Voices with Lady D on YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to stay connected. Every Saturday at 10 a.m., it's Saturday Morning Runnings. Come feel the vibes. Saturday Morning Runnings, where Caribbean heritage comes alive. Hey Trelawney, it's Lady D, reaching you straight from New York with love. Catch me every week on Fit FM 96.7 in Stuart Hanson, Duncan's Trelawney, Jamaica. It's Voices with the Lady D on Linkage Radio, streaming live on YouTube. Join me Monday for the Monday Drive from 5 to 7 p.m. and Friday for Center Stage from 5 to 7 p.m. And me just want to know who under the mango tree with them iPhone, iPad, and transistor radio, because trust me, you can't afford to miss the show. Music vibes and real talk every time. Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. Stay locked in. Trelawney, me love you no bad.
Minister Patrick Tyson and Brother Claver Schrouter, in collaboration with Sister Lemuel Hunt, presents A Taste of Heaven on Earth Part 2 on Saturday, September 13th, 2025, to be held at the Bronxwood International Church of God, located at 3232 Lurton Avenue in the Bronx, featuring Minister Judith Gale, Minister O'Shane Mays from out of Jamaica, Minister Claver Schrouter, Minister Dwight Schrouter, Brother Tajay Nichols, aka Singer Wayne, and Sister Shakira. Tickets adults $40, children $25. Doors open at 5 p.m. Showtime 6 p.m. sharp. Your MCs for the evening will be yours truly, Minister Patrick Tyson and Lady D. A part of the proceeds from this event will go to Bronxwood International Church of God Carpet Project. This event is sponsored by Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant. For tickets and more information, you can contact Minister Tyson at 347-961-6785 or Minister Claver Schrouter at 914-336-0623.
Ready for real talk and powerful conversations? Then subscribe to Voices with Lady D on YouTube, where culture meets commentary and the diaspora speaks loud and clear. Don't just scroll. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and tap the bell so you never miss a moment. From laughter to legacy, it's all happening here. Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. Welcome to Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. I'm your host, Lady D Denise Gomez Green, inviting you to join me each week for real conversations, powerful stories, and uplifting perspectives that shine a light on voices from the community and the diaspora. Kick off your week with the Monday Drive from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Dive deep on Thursdays with Center Stage from 6 to 8 p.m. and ease into your weekend with Satideh Morning Runnings every Saturday at 10 a.m. Catch Voices with Lady D on YouTube, Caribbean Vibes Radio Network online, and YouTube, and Fit FM 96.7 in Stewart Castle, Trelawney, Jamaica, or tune in on Linkage Radio online. So lock in, turn it up, and remember, every voice has power. This is Voices with Lady D.